I realized that the space no longer acknowledged existence as something anchored. I could feel myself, but the world did not reflect that I was there. Presence no longer created a point. The environment did not gather around me. It did not orient. It did not adjust. I stood still and felt nothing form. No here. No now. I understood then that this place had removed the concept of position itself, not erased it, unhooked it from reality. To be somewhere no longer meant anything. The world no longer contained coordinates for a person. I wasn't lost. I was unplaced, and in a reality where nothing can be located. Even being becomes something that has nowhere to occur. I tried creating a reference. I touched the wall. I marked the floor. I turned around to see if anything would stay behind me. Nothing did. The space did not preserve interaction. It did not register contact. Every trace dissolved the moment it was made. I realized then that this world no longer stored evidence. It did not remember that I had been there. Not because it forgot, because memory itself had no structure to exist in. The environment had removed persistence. Every moment erased the one before it. I wasn't failing to leave a mark. Marking itself had been removed from reality. And in a place where nothing can remain, even existence becomes something that cannot be proven. I noticed that even sound no longer traveled. I could speak, but my voice did not seem to arrive anywhere. It existed, then vanished without reflection. The space did not return echoes. It did not carry vibration. Noise no longer mapped distance. I realized then that this world had removed transmission itself, not muted it, not absorbed it, ended the idea that anything could move from one point to another. Every signal collapsed into the moment it was created. Nothing reached. Nothing responded. I wasn't unheard. Hearing no longer had a destination. And in a reality where nothing can propagate, communication becomes an action that cannot leave the body. I realized that even observation had lost its role. Looking no longer confirmed anything. Objects did not stabilize when I focused on them. The space did not resolve under attention. My gaze no longer anchored reality. I could stare at a doorway and feel nothing become defined. The world did not sharpen. It did not commit. I understood then that this place had removed the effect of being seen, not hidden itself, detached from perception. Reality no longer depended on witness. It existed without reference. I wasn't failing to observe. Observation itself no longer altered the world. And in a reality that does not respond to being seen, even awareness becomes something that cannot hold anything in place. I began to feel that even presence was fading into abstraction. I could sense myself, but the world did not confirm that I occupied anything. There was no boundary where I ended and space began. My outline no longer mattered. I realized then that this place had removed separation itself, not between rooms, between beings. The environment no longer distinguished inside from outside. I wasn't standing in space. I was dissolving into it. The world did not contain me because containment required borders. Here, nothing had edges. And in a reality without separation, even the idea of me becomes something that cannot stay intact. I realized that even continuity had collapsed. I could remember a moment ago, but it no longer felt connected to now. Each instant arrived isolated, not following, not building. The world did not carry me forward. It reintroduced me again and again. I wasn't moving through time. I was appearing inside it. The environment had removed sequence itself. Events did not line up. They replaced one another without relation. I understood then that this place no longer allowed a self to extend. Identity requires a chain. Here, there were only fragments. I wasn't being erased. I was being restarted without accumulation, and in a reality without continuity. Even existence becomes a series of beginnings that never become a life. I began to sense that even meaning had lost its structure. Events no longer pointed to anything. Actions did not imply purpose. Nothing referred beyond itself. The space no longer organized experience into significance. I could walk, speak, stop, observe, and nothing framed those acts as about anything. The world had removed reference, not hidden it, ended it. I realized then that this place no longer supported interpretation. There was nothing to understand because nothing pointed elsewhere. Every moment existed only as itself. I wasn't missing meaning. Meaning no longer had a surface to attach to, and in a reality without reference, even thought becomes something that cannot reach beyond the instant it occupies. I noticed that even time began to feel optional. Moments no longer pressed against one another. Nothing followed. Nothing concluded. Each second appeared complete, then vanished without transition. The space did not carry a flow. It hosted isolated instants. I realized then that this world had removed duration itself, not stopped time, fragmented it. Every moment existed without extension. I wasn't waiting for the next second. There was no next implied. The environment no longer formed continuity. It generated isolated nows. And in a reality where time cannot extend, existence becomes something that never moves forward, only appears and disappears. I realized that even reality had begun to feel provisional. Nothing asserted permanence. The space did not commit to its own form. Walls felt temporary. Floors felt conditional. The world behaved as if it could dissolve at any moment and leave nothing behind. I understood then that this place no longer stabilized itself. It existed in a state of continuous allowance. Everything was permitted. Nothing was fixed. I wasn't standing inside a structure. I was inside a possibility that never resolved. The environment no longer decided what it was. And in a reality that does not commit to itself, existence becomes something that can vanish without ever having been complete. I stopped asking what this place was when I realized it no longer needed to be anything. The world did not define itself. It did not resolve. It did not conclude. It existed without insisting on form. I understood then that this reality had exited identity itself. It was no longer a place, no longer a system, no longer a structure. It was a condition that did not require shape. I wasn't inside an environment. I was inside something that no longer needed to be known. The space did not erase me. It removed the requirement that anything be recognized. And in a reality that no longer defines itself, even existence becomes something that does not ask to be perceived.